Hi everyone. So I'd like to take the opportunity to begin this event by acknowledging that we are gathered in Jipuktuk, Mi'kma'ki, which is the unceded and ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people.
Reader, it is not to awaken sympathy for myself that I am telling you for what I suffered in slavery. I do it to kindle compassion in your hearts for my sisters who are still in bondage and suffering as I once suffered.
I've landed here, my voice damp with shame, my insides burn. I wait for someone to ask me to leave. I'm a translation of a translation, somewhere on the chopping block. Of cutting and absence, I cower. I trace tree lines. I am looking for a root, a stem to grow a sense of who I am, metabolize where I come from, and process who I belong to. I'm afraid of all that came before.
The Difficult Histories Database is an online archive of difficult sites of history within the HRM. DHD is currently working on noticing, reflecting, and at times countermapping sites of colonial violence, cultural genocide, environmental racism, and systematic amnesia. Today we are looking forward to a collective conversation about some of the difficult sites of history, as well as gathering field notes for our database. So thank you for joining us.
It's important to remember that this space has both a historical and a current significance beyond being the site of the University of King's College. I think it's especially important that we recognize the impacts of settler violence in the spaces we inhabit every day and how we uphold them. King's is an institution that was founded on stolen land, using profits made off of the labor of stolen peoples. These legacies are not only historical. We continue to do our academic work in English, which is a colonial language, and continue to study and live in a space that celebrates the Western canon, oftentimes at the expense of Indigenous voices and worldviews. We have both a duty to learn our troubled history and to unlearn harmful practices.
So, this is Sacred Heart School Halifax, and those who set up Sacred Heart Schools had a mission to educate the poor and marginalized. But it is important to note that the order contributed to further marginalization through racist actions, something that the network of schools continues to do today. While in the U.S., the members of this order use the labor of enslaved people, something which the Catholic Church supported.
There's a lot to be unpacked when it comes to the public gardens. I won't necessarily offer you a brief history of how this place came into being. That is one of the only things that you can read on a descriptive panel. The model of Victorian gardens is tied to colonial control, so it comes as no surprise that the public gardens is home to various monuments, portraying colonizers and murderers as war heroes. If you look closely at almost all of these photos, you'll see the name Notman or Notman Studios. So William Notman was the first Canadian photographer to build an international reputation. His photographs often still serve as a starting point for understanding the complexities of 19th century life in Canada. Notman's photographs romanticized and idealized the nation. He was essentially documenting and marketing Canada. Everything that Notman did was highly deliberate and strategic. Notman's studio, much like the space that we currently occupy, was a highly controlled environment, and most aspects of his images were highly staged. What is the intended narrative of this space? What do the photographs tell us, and what do they omit? And ultimately, who is the intended public?
Personally, for my practice, I look a lot at naming, so place names, street names, and we were like, what is the Lord Nelson? If you YouTube Nelson, you will find many videos defending him and upholding his naval career. He's actually never visited this territory. Nelson died defending and upholding the British Empire. He was an advocate for maintaining the transatlantic slave trade. And a quote by him, I have ever been, and shall die, a firm friend to our present colonial system. Why are we upholding his legacy? What are the narratives being upheld here presently? What are the ecological of these difficult spaces? So I wanted us to consider naming, what it means to name something. Within my culture, naming is very specific. If you do something criminal, you no longer can pass that name down. It holds energy, it holds ties. What does it mean in these colonial spaces that we constantly uphold these people?